What did your production process look like then when you first started?
My audience that I've built, they like that I'm just genuine and just go stand out in the road and talk.
How has business from YouTube gone for you? Like, how's that looked coming in?
What's up, REVB fam? Welcome to another podcast episode. Katie Day here with Timothy Macy, and we are excited to dig in with Montana's finest, Will Friedner. What's going on, man?
How's it going? Thanks for having me on.
I'm excited to dig in with you because you've been on a YouTube journey for about 5 years now?
Yep.
And I've admired your content for a very long time, so I'm excited to dig in today.
Yeah, I want to know, Will, how did this thing get started? Like, what made you say, hey, I'm going to go throw some videos on YouTube?
Well, I've always been into the social media end of things, and I did a podcast for a while back before podcasts were cool. And I did that for about a year, and I got one guy that called me and actually showed up from it. So I was like, all right, this isn't really working. And then kind of the story of a lot of people.
What was the podcast about?
Same as basically it was the
Living
audio version of what I did on YouTube or
Okay.
what
So-
I've been doing.
Nice.
So one thing that's wild, and like we're just going to completely interrupt you and then dig into this in depth for a minute, is like we've been trying to find someone with a local podcast that's actually bringing them business, right? Because like everyone always talks about it, like, oh hey, and especially with AI now that like you can like use your 11 Labs voice, you can use different AI tools to create a pod, and like no one is really doing it or doing it well. So it's interesting that you say that. But anyways, sorry.
Jeb Smith, though, that's going to be our next Jeb interview. He's getting business from his podcast.
Will doesn't care.
Okay.
No, I do. I mean, I've listened to him but he's more kind of national.
That
Yep.
too.
Yeah. Where I'm hyper local and statewide anyway. And anyway, the podcast and again, I think it was before podcasts were what they are now. And, I did that because as a kid, I wanted to be a broadcaster, and I thought, oh, podcasting's perfect. I'm not Tom Cruise. I might as well be, some good looking dude. I might as well be on the radio guy. But like I said, I did it for 1 year and didn't really get anything out of it. And then COVID hit, and I'd always thought about doing YouTube. And there was that 2-week span up here anyway, where everyone just kind of sat at home and didn't know what to do. And I was like, well, I might as well just start making videos, and told myself I'll do it for a year, see if I can get monetized. And I had that one blow up 6 months in, and then that's kind of the rest of the story.
So fast forward today, you're at 87.3 thousand subscribers. So I know that like things have changed over the years, but like when you first started out, you said, hey, I'm going to give this a year, which I love, because most of the time people say, hey, I'm going to post like 5 videos. And if it works, like we all know that it's not going to work in 5 videos. So what did your production process look like then when you first started, right? When you were like, okay, I'm going to give this thing a shot.
I have my iPhone. I had a $20 lapel mic and a $20 tripod from Amazon. And I just went out and hung my phone out the window a lot of times to film, and then I would stop. And the one video that went viral, it was sitting on the tripod, and I was standing on the side of the road with a wire going to the phone for my microphone, and that one's got 4.5 million views. So it's crazy.
Well, your first couple of videos on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you rate?
-10.
Well, and I think that's when I talk to people, that's one of their biggest hiccups is making those first couple videos that are going to be not 10s. Like, what did that look like for you?
They were garbage. I mean, just like everybody, the people that think they're going to start out good, as you guys know, you can't, and maybe if you spent thousands of dollars on a production team, it'd be different. But the average guy like me that's just going to do it himself, there's no way it's going to be good. You have to learn, and you just got to get out and do it. But I think as bad as they were, I started to get calls off of them. So,
yeah,
people like the honesty, and the honesty isn't the right word, just that you're not fake, and it's not, if you guys watch my videos, you've seen they're not Hollywood productions. And I know a lot of people spend a lot of money on producing their videos, which is fine. But I think my audience that I've built, they like that I'm just genuine and just go stand out in the road and talk.
So you did have the one that took off to 4.5 million views. What was the change? Like what do you think it was about that video that got that kind of result? I mean, what thumbnail, title, what video itself? Like what was it that made that one take off?
Again, if you look at the thumbnail, it goes against everything. If I would send this in to, Christina Smallhorn or any of the gurus you want to call them, say, hey, what do you think of my thumbnail? They would just trash it, and then you look at, my theory is because of that has always been, it's more about the title. I think you could have put a, pile of crap on a sidewalk and it would have done well, because I think the title's what sucked people in.
Yeah.
But like,
look at that thumbnail. You can barely even read it. And it doesn't
it's the same thing, in the thumbnail that is the title. And we know that that's not like the secret sauce,
Yeah.
But looking at the video and the comments, like everyone like someone was like, oh, like finally a truthful real estate agent. Like this is the best video I've seen. Like,
I liked
he's actually telling the truth. Refreshing honesty.
Mine was he's standing in a road for 7 minutes in Montana and a car still hasn't gone by.
That part cracked me up because I did have to cut out a couple cars that went by.
Yeah.
But
that was purposely edited for that look.
Yeah.
That's
well,
funny.
But I mean, I think I'm seeing it over and over again. Hey, I think a realtor who tells people reasons not to move there shows a great deal of integrity.
And I think people are looking for honesty. People are looking for truth. And so there's something about Will standing in the road, not perfectly produced, right? And just talking that people buy into and they trust. And I think sometimes with our over editing, there's this balance of keeping people's attention, but also sometimes losing trust while you're keeping their attention. And so I think you do a great job of just being out there in a way that you're not using editing, you're not using this other stuff to hook people in. You're using this like radical transparency and authenticity around what you're talking about and the way you're talking about it.
And what's wild to me is, I mean, obviously I haven't sorted through all of them, but there's 5,922 comments. And normally on videos, people are like shitting on you, right? They're like, oh, you're just a stupid realtor, blah, blah, blah. Like I have not yet seen one. The most honest real estate agent ever. All the things this guy says are very true, especially junk cars, trailer trash. If you don't like that, blah, blah, blah. Like everyone's agreeing with you. And that's where I think that we sometimes get into a place where we're like trying to be too salesy on a video, right? And people can feel that. People know that. And so I love that. Great job. Great work. 4 years ago.
The backstory, the reason I made that video is, like I said, when I started out, I was about 6 months in. That video came out in September of 2020. And I remember that because it was the perfect storm. It was right before the election of 2020 and everybody was starting to get pissed and, taking sides. And the one thing that you probably haven't seen, the very end of it, I put in a blurb where I just said, hey, if you're looking to move up here, it's because you want to get out of where you are. So don't come up here and change this to where you are, and I just said that. Well, that turned into, people from California suck and these guys suck and you suck. And it just generated a ton of comments, which then, as you know, pushes the video out even further. And I didn't, when I made it, I was just talking and thinking off the top of my head. And I said that, and had I wish I could say, oh yeah, I planned that out, but like I tell everybody, had I known that video was going to get 4 million views, I probably would have dressed better.
Well, hindsight.
I love, because a lot of the comments are about that. And I love when the thing that you said at the end of the video is getting a lot of comments, because that means you got so many people that are watching the entire video. And I do think it goes to show too, putting something comment worthy at the end of a video is really important. Don't get me wrong. The typical thing of like comment below for what you think, like that's fine. But when you say something like that, when you have some statement like that, that can generate conversation, that's really powerful.
I think a lot of that stuff's on the fly though. Like if you try to come up with the thing that's going to generate engagement, like most of that stuff flops, right? And so that's what like Will say, like, hey, I didn't know this was going to take off. I didn't know, that, I probably would have dressed better, right? Like I just made this comment kind of off the cuff, right? And those are normally the things that go viral or that really resonate with people because it's something that you're being super sincere about. All right. So you did these videos, you had your iPhone, cheap mic, cheap tripod. I love that because so many people are like trying to buy the next best camera and all this stuff. And then like, they don't even know how to set up any of the settings. Right. Fast forward to today, like I see that you've upgraded your mic, right, to I think a DJI or a Rode. Like, what are some other things that you've done as you've leveled up with YouTube?
Well, I've been using the money that I've started getting off AdSense. I just put it back into my channel and I buy, I got a whole table full of stuff over here. I got a drone. I've got the camera that I use the most is the DJI Mini. It's right here on the the little gimbal one. I don't know if it's not showing up. But anyway,
I got you.
But yeah, so yeah, and this one came with that mic, but I also have the DJI mic, wireless mics that I bought a while ago. Then I bought a 360 camera. I got an action cam. I got I just toys.
Yeah.
But the stuff you started out with, like you could, if you had to, just go back to making videos with the stuff you have.
And like as you guys know, iPhones are so good now. Yeah. They're, I spent $2,000 on an actual Sony camera back in the beginning out of my savings, and I haven't even used it.
Yeah. Asked him about his Sony camera.
Yeah. I take like family pictures with it and stuff sometimes, but the phone is so good. But talk to me about like business. How has business from YouTube gone for you? Like, how's that looked coming in? Like, what's that looked like for you?
It's totally changed everything for me. I was doing business, but the reason I had always been in search of YouTube, I guess, or I've always been in search of a way. I'm not a cold call guy. I'm not a door knock guy. I'm not that guy. And when I started doing these videos, and as you guys both know, when people call me now, they're already my client. I don't have to sell them on, you should use me because I'm the coolest guy in Montana. They already think that, oh my God, I can't believe you even answered the phone. And so I can't say enough about YouTube and what it's done. It's made my entire business. I get 100% of my business now from the channel. So,
and now as far as getting into that and the channel goes, do you do CTAs on the channel? Do you do them in the description? Like how do you make it where people can reach out to you from your videos?
I'm very bad at that. I do have in my notes, I've saved for every video. It just automatically is in there. It has my contact information all over. And then I'll put the subscribe button on it. And, but I need to be better. And I always think about that after I shoot a video. I'm like, damn it, why didn't I say this or, whatever. But that's my problem. Like I don't script. I'll just write I'll come up with an idea. All right, here's what I'm going to do my video on. And then I'll write bullet points. And again, I'll put my notebook down on the ground and I'll sit and talk. And then I'll look down and, see what else I need to talk about. And then I just talk. And that's why I always forget to say stuff I should say because I didn't write it down.
Would you say you're making videos about stuff that you have to research, or you pretty much making videos about stuff that you feel like you already know and already are an expert on?
Little of both. Like I did a video just a week or two ago. There's this controversy going on in Glacier Park right now. I live close to Glacier Park and somebody built a house in there. And it's kind of a big story around here because it's about what it comes down to is property rights and your thoughts on property rights. And again, as we talked about in my viral video, when you can get people riled up on both sides, that's the key. And so if you look at my title, I was like, Feds versus Montana, which sucks in all of the conspiracy people and all of that. And then I talk about this house, and I kind of give a little bit of my opinion, but I try and stay in the middle of the fence for the most part. But with that particular issue, I mean, tons of people get fired up about it.
All right. So as far as your videos, I'm hearing bullet point them out, kind of go off the cuff a little bit. Are you 5 years in now having difficulty coming up with topics, or do you have like specific buckets or things that you do and you kind of rotate through those? Because I was texting with someone earlier and they're like, I just feel so uninspired, right? Like how do you manage to keep putting out content?
That is the biggest difficulty I have. And thank God that AI has come around, because I've been leaning on that a lot to help me with ideas. And then I'm going back and kind of redoing some of the older ones or the same topics. And, because you have to keep in mind that the people that were watching me 5 years ago are probably long gone. And so to redo something, people aren't going to say, oh, you already did a video about that. So I kind of going down that road.
Yeah.
Well, and also, I mean, I think that things update, right? So if you did a pros and cons, or this is why you should move here, or why you shouldn't move here, like, 5 years later, like there could be differences that didn't exist in 2020 or 2021, right? And so I think sometimes you have to get out of your head on that, especially if it's still a video that's performing, right? Like I would assume that your 4.5 million view video like still gets views to this day. So doing a follow up sometimes does feel a little like maybe I shouldn't do this, but one, if people love you and want the content and watch all your videos, like they'll watch it, and two, there's probably differences, now than there were then.
Oh, for sure. And believe me, I've been trying to recreate that magic ever since it happened, but I've yet to get another one. But now my goal now is I just want that damn plaque. That's the
100K. Yeah,
that's right,
dude. That is amazing. That's such a cool thing. Look, I think there's a lot of people that are looking at the production, that are looking at the work and looking at all the stuff that goes in to making a YouTube channel. They're looking at, the fact that there's other people with YouTube channels, and if they have one, then they can't have one, and whatever. Like, what would you say to people to try to get them off the fence and to get going and make some stuff?
Well, I agree with everything you just said. And I know that in my area I'm sure I would have been the same, that people think about doing it and then they see my channel. They're like, well, I'm never going to catch him, which is stupid, because I guarantee there's probably just as many people that see me on the screen and turn the channel right away. And, anybody can do what I'm doing. I think the other thing, Tim, that makes people give up, or I don't know if give up is the right word, but not even start, is it's a lot of work. Even if you only have an iPhone and a lapel mic. I mean, I'm just a geek and I enjoy the editing and I enjoy everything about it. But for a lot of people, they don't like the editing, or it's too hard, or, and so, it's not an easy thing to do, but if you like it and you at least give it a year, I guarantee it'll pay off.
All right. Are you doing anything else? So you got the YouTube channel going. Like, are you doing any other platforms or working on any other marketing channels that you're excited about?
No, I hired a gal a couple of years ago that, I wanted to get Instagram going, and she built it up. She gained, grew at about 1,000 followers from what I had, which wasn't many. But I just never got any traction from it. And I think looking at my analytics on YouTube, when I first saw them, I was kind of annoyed, because it's all old people. And I was like, why don't the young people like me? But then I thought, well, the young people don't have any money. Why I should be happy. And I am. But I think Instagram is kind of more geared towards the younger people. And I can say again, with my particular audience, a couple of years ago when YouTube was pushing shorts so hard, I did shorts for about a month until I saw my channel just tank. Yeah. And I was like, what the hell? Why? I mean, it took 6 months to get back up to the views that I was normally getting. And then I just was researching why this happened. Well, again, all my people are over 45 or 50. And a lot of my people, more than not, watch my stuff on TV, on a TV.
Mm-hmm.
And so when a short comes on the TV, it looks stupid. And I even had a guy email me like, "Oh, I thought your camera was broken." You know, because that generation, they don't watch TikTok or Instagram or Reels. They watch YouTube on TV.
Yeah, that's I think that's an underrated thing. Like, I don't think people realize how much YouTube is being watched on televisions. Like, I mean, I could tell
We're hearing it more and more.
Yeah, most of the time, my TV now is on YouTube. And so it goes from, hey, like, you know, you can be on social media, or you can be at, like, no, you're literally putting yourself on the TV in the living room of people where you used to have to pay some crazy amount of money to run commercials or somehow land on the news, right? But now, you know, you can make your YouTube channel what people watch in their living room.
So, well, and the beauty is you can watch whatever on the planet you can think of is on YouTube. And there's a reason it's bigger than Netflix now. I mean, so that kind of tells me everything. Why would I? Not that there's anything wrong with doing Instagram or any of the other ones. Obviously, people are very successful with them, but I'm kind of YouTube is my thing, and I'm not going to waste time. And not that I'm wasting time, but you know what I mean? I'm not going to go start Instagram now.
So. No, well, we talk. I think we see so many agents try to do it all, and when they try to do it all, they tend not to do much of it well. And for you to find something it's doing well and stay focused on improving the piece that's generating you the business is one of the smarter things I've heard, because so many times, you know, be like, oh, this is cool. Like, my favorite thing is watching agents take something, implement it, having it work, and then they never do it again. Oh man, I sent out that mailer and I actually got calls back and it worked. Never doing that again.
Overrated. All right. So I'm curious. Outside of like just the platform, what else are you looking at when you're looking at your analytics? Like, what, you know, you said that shorts tanked your channel, and so then you had to do, like, you know, work very hard to get your channel back to where it was. Like, what does that look like for you? Is when you post a video, like, what are you looking at to see, like, if you thought that this was a good video or a bad video?
I look at the first couple days of views, and you know, and it's interesting. Like, the videos that I do that I feel are the most beneficial and have the most good information for people, nobody watches.
Yep.
You know, I did one about wildfires with a guy, a buddy of mine I play hockey with. He's an insurance guy, and he's like the fire insurance guy of this part of Montana. And we went out and like toured this house that they're building that's totally fireproof, and it's out in the middle of, you know, millions of acres of forest, and you could build a campfire on the roof of this house and it wouldn't burn. And that video got nobody watched it. Like, what the hell? But then I'd do the, you know, controversial thing about this house on the river, and it goes nuts.
So what's that tell us?
Well, negative. We all know negative sells. Negativity sells. You know, I started this series a few weeks ago where I have some clients that I sold them a lot a couple of years ago, and they're finally just starting to build their house. So I thought, I'll do a series from day one of the excavator going out there to the end of the build and do a series. So I did the first two videos. First video did okay. The second one, it tanked. I mean, not that nobody watched it, but compared to all my other videos, it was a lower one. And I'm like, this is good information. What are you guys doing?
Yeah, I think one, I don't know, but just my top of my head gut tells me, I think that people like videos that could have an impact on them, right? And so when you make that video about the house that was built it's like inside the park, I'm assuming, and so it's like it's inside the park, so private land rights, like people feel like that affects them. You know, like what you should know before you move. So, like, I feel like that affects me. I think the home build is super interesting, and I think there's probably an audience for it. But at the end of the day, it's like somebody else's house. Like, I don't think they feel any impact from the house. And but I do think that a lot of times agents make, and the reason why I don't think their channels do well, is they make highly informational content that doesn't have an impact on the person they're trying to reach. And so, like even if you're trying to give them the information, you've got to figure out a way to package it in a way where like it impacts the person that is watching it. So it's like, hey, I'm going to come up with some bad ideas because I'm on the spot. But if I'm trying to give people, stuff about mortgage rates, it's like house prices are going up because mortgage rates are too high. Like that doesn't make any sense. But then you got to break down, well, people aren't selling their house because they got lower mortgage rates, which is making house prices more, which makes it more expensive. But it's like, yeah, man, like you got to find like what are people going to get nervous about? What are people going to get nervous about? Like people are like, oh, they built this house over here. Now the feds are fighting them. Maybe the feds are going to fight me. And I loved listening to Christina because she knows her audience so well. She knows what sets them off. She knows what they find like irresistible, Yeah. And the more you do that, it's like, oh, well, I know my audience it does not like the idea of government intervention. So they're going to eat this one up.
Well, and I'm lucky enough to live in a state that a lot of people are like intrigued by, with the Yellowstone show and all of it. So again, this obviously has absolutely zero to do with real estate, but I've decided that later this summer, I'm going to go. There's been a couple of famous bear attacks in Glacier. Yeah. And so I'm going to go hike to those spots and show where everything happened. And again, nothing to do with real estate, but I know those will do good.
Yeah, because your audience is interested in it, right?
Yeah.
I love it.
I had a question and then it just completely,
because I was rambling.
You were rambling. I was making fun of you in the, you're like house price interest rate thing. Oh, I remember because you brought up Christina and we were talking about her stuff, and she spoke at REVB and talked about, like her avatar and how well she knows her avatar. And so hers, it got to the point, and Will, I know Christina, and I know you're in like her group and everything, but it got to the point that she said that the people that were commenting on her videos and the emails and things she was receiving, she's like, my avatar is an asshole and I need to pivot and make a new avatar. And so she's in the process of changing that on her channel right now. Describe to us who you're making your videos for.
Probably mid 50s guys that are looking to move out of the city, and whether they're going to retire or just work remotely, and just moved them. They've always wanted to live up in the mountains.
So you'll go hike some mountains.
That's
and make some videos.
So bear attacks should that video should do well.
Yeah, I think so. We'll see. You never know.
In theory. Cool, man. All right. If someone doesn't follow you or is not connected with you, where is the best place for them to connect with you?
My YouTube channel is called Living in Montana. Again, because my channel's gotten so big and I started before everyone else up here, you can just type Google Montana and all my videos pop up. So that was helpful as well.
That's pretty cool. So, well, man, we appreciate you being on. Here's the deal. How far out do you think you are from hitting that plaque, that 100K?
Well, I'm hoping that's why I'm doing these bear ones. I'm hoping those put me over there. I'd love by the end of the year to do it. I don't think I'll get there, but you never know. We'll see.
Bro, you just got to go fight a bear. And,
the man versus bear.
Yeah.
You could probably do it on AI, just get in the VO3 there and have it make a video. You fight a bear.
They're not, YouTube's not going to monetize AI videos. So Will's trying to buy a new camera, Tim.
That's right. Well, listen, we're excited for the 100K. So we'll keep an eye on the channel, because that'll be awesome.
I'm going to subscribe and then unsubscribe and then resubscribe so that I can be that person.
until you're number 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for being on, man. We appreciate it. And don't fight the bears. I was just joking.
Okay, I'll wait till you come up here and I'll let you walk in front.
Yeah.